Good morning, Westside.
Good morning.
Thank you so very much for being here today. It means a great deal to me that you are here at Westside as often as you can. I say this all the time, but religious community does not happen when we stay at home. And there are all sorts of legitimate reasons and those we can create and conjure up that may allow us to remain home on some Sundays. We know community doesn't create itself. We must show up to make it so. Not with the belief that everything is or will be perfect or happy, but with the knowledge that what we do here is important. It is important to us personally. It is important to the next generation. It is important to Fort Worth and beyond. It is important in our joys and perhaps even more so in our sorrows. I learned this trick recently that if you look up, that you may not do what I just did. I watch Hillary Clinton sometimes. I personally admire her, but when she speaks in public, she often looks up here. Probably for different reasons that I will. But what we are doing here is important, and I pray you have little doubt about that. I hope you don't mind me saying this, but it even means a little more to me today that you are here. I sent out this little note, a little reminder on Friday morning that this is about the last time I will be in this pulpit, about the last time I will be at church, about the last time, Lord, this may be long. About the last time I will have any contact with Westside for 6 months. It didn't go like this in rehearsal. Today I wanted to see you. If possible, I wanted to touch you, to shake your hand, to hug your neck before taking my leave. It's actually kind of hard for me to believe that March 1st will be my 7-year anniversary with Westside as minister. First is quarter-time contract, then is called half-time minister in 2006 to full-time in 2008. 7 years is not an eternity by any means, but it is a substantial amount of time. You know me fairly well by now, and I know most of you fairly well too. Jesus. In fact, one of the greatest privileges that has been bestowed upon me as minister here is the way I've been able to know so many of you. I've been part of the ordinary and the sublime. I've been part of your times in the hospital, both with scheduled surgeries and those visits that have come as a surprise. I've been witness to the struggles that have come from parenting. I have been part of courtships and weddings and divorces. I've been present when some among us have died. It is an intense relationship at times. It is one that I cherish and revel in its overwhelmingly positive nature, and I will miss it while I am gone. I'll miss it in the upcoming months. 7 years, there have been many reflections, many sermons that have been of differing qualities. Some have not been so good, I'm sure. Most, I hope, have been acceptable. A few may have actually been pretty good. I've mentioned this before, but writing reflections does not come easily or naturally for me. I wish it weren't so, but it is. I spend a great deal of time creating them, massaging them, worrying over them. When I have delivered a reflection that I do not feel very good about, and my spouse, Gail, can attest to this, I can allow it to follow me, to haunt me, until the next one comes along that I believe is better and allows me not to forget the bad one, but to discontinue its haunting me. It's an interesting dynamic that I try to be aware of and watch within myself. Frankly, it's my own measuring stick I use for these public, yet very often personal pronouncements I make most Sundays from the West Side pulpit. And I'm convinced that it is not always the reflections that leave us feeling good that are the most important. But you may be interested to know that even the ones that may not have been so good took an equal amount of time and effort to create. I spent about the same amount of time on the good ones as the bad ones. And today is my 175th reflection since beginning my time as minister here in March of 2005. I will enjoy not doing that for a while and resting. If you will allow me to say it, being a minister is the most tiring, yet most fulfilling work I have ever done. There are several facets to the role that call for many different sets of skills. In fact, it reminds me of a story you may have heard me. I just said turd. It reminds me of a story you may have heard me tell before, where a UU minister was walking along a Hawaiian beach, and she kicked a bottle poking up through the sand. Opening it, she was astonished to see a cloud of smoke and a genie smiling at her. "For your kindness," the genie said, "I will grant you one wish." The minister paused and laughed and said, "I've always wanted a road from Hawaii to California." The genie grimaced, thought for a few minutes, and said, "Listen, I'm sorry, but I can't do that. Think of all the pilings needed to hold up the highway and how long they'd have to be to reach the bottom of the ocean. Think of all the resources and pavement. That's just too much to ask." "Okay," the minister said, not wanting to be unreasonable. "I'm a Unitarian Universalist minister," she said. "Make me understand the members in the congregation I serve. What makes them laugh and cry? Why are they so temperamental? Why are they difficult to get along with sometimes? What do they really want? Basically, genie, teach me to understand what makes them tick." And the genie paused and then sighed and said, "Did you want 2 lanes or It is a challenging, wonderful, surprising, uplifting, heartbreaking, soul-searching, enlivening line of work I am in, and I love it. It is a true calling to me in the sense that I feel compelled to do this with the best of my imperfect abilities. The offering of a sabbatical, this gift you are giving me, for which I am truly grateful, recognizes the perils of ministry. It allows time for renewal, to replenish my buckets before they actually become empty. It is a principled attempt to prevent burnout. So like the author of our responsive reading, Henry David Thoreau, like he did, I'm going to disappear for a while in an attempt to create my own version of Walden. And it is quite natural, I think, that folks have been wondering what I might do during the coming 6 months. For each month, I have some fairly large event that will take place out of state. For instance, I'll be going to the Hawaiian Islands of Lanai and Kauai, first for a retreat, and then later for the celebration of 20 years of wonderful marriage with Gail. I will be going to Washington, D.C. for a conference on compassion. I'll be going to New York City to study rational emotive behavior therapy more deeply at the Albert Ellis Institute, something I am very excited about doing. But for the vast majority of time, these upcoming 6 months, I'll be attempting to write. I have an idea for a book I've been thinking about for quite some time. I've done a lot of reading in advance. And quite frankly, it will be about a topic that makes people angry and defensive, even among progressives. I'm tentatively titling the book, Addicted to Flesh: Why We Continue to Eat in Ways That Damage Our Health, Our Environment, and Our Soul. I honestly believe I must attempt to write this book. We shall see if anyone will buy it. Those are the things I will do. But perhaps just as importantly as the things I will be doing are those things I won't. I'll not be at church on Sundays. I'll not be attending meetings. I'll not be returning phone calls. I'll very purposefully not be looking at email. In some ways, in an attempt to recharge my batteries, I'll basically unplug and fall off the face of the earth for a little while. Now, confidentially, just between you and me, one of the things I'm quite excited about not doing is my annual reflection on stewardship. What has sometimes been called in the past the Sermon on the Amount. Over the years, I've shared with you how the stewardship reflection is the most difficult one I offer. I do not like asking for money. But part of my difficulty is that I realize how important and significant stewardship is for the life of this church. So, I will instead say to you now that when Westside asks for your financial support in the upcoming weeks, be as generous as you can. If you have not done so in a while, consider giving Westside a raise, because we are in agreement. This religious community we create, we build, is of great importance. One other thing I will not be doing while I'm away is cutting my hair or trimming my beard. We will see if I actually have the guts to do this, because my hair actually grows higher and longer. I've spoken to a Westsider who is a professional hairstylist, and she is fairly certain this will not be a good look for me. And my spouse completely agrees. As an aside, I am thankful to the few among us who will remind me with a whisper occasionally when it is time for me to get a haircut. But it will be another 6 years before I have another sabbatical, so I'm going to see if I can go through with this little sign of freedom from having to be somewhere and attempting to look socially presentable. This may be about the only sign of physical rebellion I've been able to muster, and for whatever it's worth, when I return, I'll let you know if I really had the audacity to let my beard and hair grow wild. More seriously, for a while, there was a great deal of anxiety around this whole idea of sabbatical, which is quite a normal reaction. The president of our congregation, Gwen Gibson, is more than capable. Actually, if you worked around her, you know she is extraordinary and will continue to be a fine, non-anxious presence for this congregation. The chaplain corps stands ready to listen to your joys and concerns that come in life, and they have 3 UU ministers at their disposal who have agreed to be called in emergencies should such an event occur. Things will go well. I'm very confident of this. There may be some bumps, but you will be able to ride them out. I know you will. But there are a couple of things I would like to ask of you while I'm gone. Personal favors to me. The first, I'll just mention briefly because you have little need of my reminder. You are most often extremely good at this. But extend compassion as often as you can. Be kind. Assume the best of members of your Westside family, whether in individual interactions or in committees or in congregational meetings. Assume the best. Every one of us here is dealing with something. And I guarantee you, we are all attempting to do our best. Albert Schweitzer reportedly said, "Constant kindness can accomplish much. As the sun makes ice melt, kindness causes misunderstanding, mistrust, and hostility to evaporate." So do be kind. But the very most important thing I want to ask of you, the thing I hope you will do for me while I'm gone more than anything else, is to be here on Sundays. Come to church. Miss as few Sundays as you possibly can. Please. Please do not concern yourself about who is in the pulpit. Do not worry, please, about the title of the reflection. Do not allow yourself any of the rationalizations that might allow you to stay home or in bed or do the chores which must get done these coming Sundays. This is the most important thing I ask of you. The worship team has the entirety of the Sundays between now and September figured out and filled. They have worked extremely hard with me to accomplish this, with a wide variety of folks who will fill this pulpit in my absence. There will be little that is as disheartening, in my personal opinion, than to work as hard as they have and will to create a good Sunday service for you and then to see attendance drop. So if you believe what we do is important, and if you think of me at all during the next 6 months, and I hope you will because I will often think of you individually and collectively, I hope you will hear me say again and again, come to church, be present, and be kind. Because we are all on this ride together. And what we create here is important. I do not know all the answers. But beside my relationship with Gail, the best part of my life is trying to figure it out with you. A place where we need not think alike to love alike. A place where we can test new ideas and reinvigorate old ones. A place where we can try to discover how to be the best human being we can in the here and now as we search for truth. So, I bid you farewell for now. know that I love you. Know that I will miss you. And know that I will see you again in September. As we rise together in body and spirit,